anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I am your host, Richie. On tonight's show, going to be hitting on the triple header in the NFL on tomorrow, Thanksgiving, Turkey Day. Got some really good matchups going to hit on, in addition to the Black Friday matchup between the Chicago Bears, who will be making the trip to Lincoln Financial Field to take on the defending Super Bowl champion, the Philadelphia Eagles. Also got some baseball news. Dylan Cease striking a big deal with the Toronto Blue Jays as he will be going north to the border. Very big move. This is a team that was ever so close to winning last year's World Series, and I like this move for Toronto. As when you look at guys in this rotation last year, both Max Scherzer and Shane Bieber, not spring chickens by any means, but right now this sets up a legitimate 1-2 punch between Trey Savage and Dylan Cease. Waiting to see what the New York Yankees are going to be doing. And, of course, crosstown rival New York Mets already making a deal, bringing in Marcus Semien, moving on from Brandon Nimmo. And I said it on the last show, my concern with regard to this is that Cody Bellinger may very well be in the Mets' interest now bigger than before, because they do have a hole in the outfield that I'm sure they're going to be looking to mend. Yankees already gave the money to Trent Grisham. He signed his qualifying offer. Of course, Aaron Judge is under contract for a substantial amount of years. So just getting going on the hot stove with MLB in the near future, probably after these holidays pass. I will be looking to get my guy Richard Dorney, diehard Mets fan, on the show, and we're going to talk some baseball for sure. Maybe reach out to my boys over at the Sports Corner, particularly Johnny Nast, as he is a Philly fan. So that should be fun, having a Phillies and Mets fan to kind of go at it and talk about the moves that their teams need to make in the upcoming season. All right, going to be shifting our attention to the NFL. Detroit Lions hosting the Green Bay Packers, a rematch of Week 1. Week 1, the Green Bay Packers shut down Jared Goff and the offense in Lambeau. This game will be in Ford Field, as every Thanksgiving game will be in Detroit's backyard. And a lot on the line here. Chicago Bears have an ever so thin lead in the NFC North at 8-3. The Packers are just behind them. The tie puts them right behind. And then you have the Detroit Lions right there as well. Lions were very fortunate to get that W last week against the New York Giants. They're going to have to play a lot better, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Fantasy hero Jahmyr Gibbs, coming off the best game of his career, in my opinion. Going to look to continue the hot wave. And, I'll break it down like this. I think at quarterback, Detroit has an advantage in Jared Goff. As Jordan Love, while he does throw quite the pretty pass, propensity for some bad decisions. Josh Jacobs will be suiting up. How effective and healthy he will be, I am not too sure. So we will find out about Josh Jacobs and how available he truly is once this game gets rolling. Emmanuel Wilson will be on deck after the fact. Just bear with me, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, my apologies. I am back. Got a honey-do list, so just checking on some of the stuff that I'll be picking up before I get back into my house. In case you were wondering, I'm in the truck doing this, and came at a good time because plenty of traffic, so it gives me some time to unload on this one. Our bigger show will be going down on Friday, announcements to come. All right, I am back talking about the Lions, talking about the Packers. Matt LaFleur, his boys, this is a very crucial game. Both teams, goes without saying, but the Packers, the advantage here, if they do walk out of Detroit with a win, will have the season sweep on Lions, and that is invaluable down the stretch. Detroit Lions definitely with a W, making it a rather complex 3-team race, as I don't think too many people on their bingo cards felt that after Caleb Williams year one, the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers would be behind his Chicago Bears. But that's exactly what's happened, as Caleb Williams has really grown as a quarterback this year. And things are just kind of happening in a magical kind of way for the Bears. I'll be hitting on them in a bit. My prediction for this game, I think we're going to be looking at a potential shootout. Give me the Detroit Lions by a score of 40-34 in overtime. I think we're going to get quite the game here. If you have Packer players and Lion players, start them. I am looking for some big numbers out of both quarterbacks. I'm looking for the Detroit running game to continue to go. And it will be interesting to see who in the Green Bay receiving room ultimately steps up, as they don't have a bona fide number one. Will it be Christian Watson? You know, who's going to step up? Who's going to step up for the Packers? But I do think both offenses are going to be able to move the ball at will, and there's going to be a lot of points in this one. But give me the home team by 6. Defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs locking horns in AT&T Stadium with the surging Dallas Cowboys, who currently reside in second place at 5-1 in the NFC East. 2-game winning streak for the Cowboys right now. Definitely finding some positive momentum at a most crucial time. Keys to victory for the Dallas Cowboys. Got to be able to run the rock, no question about it. Chiefs are a stingy run defense, but most definitely the Cowboys are going to have to be able to run the rock to open up things for Dak Prescott downfield, and he does have some good weapons in both George Pickens and perennial All-Pro CeeDee Lamb. I think that in the Chiefs' case, they showed a lot of moxie and a lot of guts getting out of Arrowhead with that win last week against the Indianapolis Colts. Kareem Hunt, really the hero of that particular game, just, you know, playing the role of workhorse down the stretch. I expect the Chiefs to try to get the combo of Pacheco and Hunt going. Pacheco may very well get more touches than Hunt, but Hunt is definitely the guy inside the red zone for the fantasy heads. I look for Travis Kelce to have a pretty good game here as well. And, you know, while I do like what Dallas has done the last couple of weeks, it's hard for me to go against the Chiefs, particularly as we approach December coming soon. This is the crucial time of the season, and whereas in past years it's been proven, this is where the Kansas City Chiefs always lock in. The Chiefs always lock in a big way at this juncture of the season, and I expect that trend to continue. I think we're in for a pretty good football game, however, as I think both teams are going to show up. I think both quarterbacks are going to play really well. Give me by the score of 30-27, Harrison Butker walking it off with the field goal, 30-27 for the road team, as the Chiefs are going to start to try to get into their playoff push. And this is one of the tougher seasons it's been for the Chiefs. A lot of uncertainties. I don't remember the last time this juncture of the year the Kansas City Chiefs were in third place, but that is exactly what they have going right now, as the Los Angeles Chargers are coming off a rough game in Duval, but definitely a winnable game for them this week. The Raiders are completely just abysmal and out of the race. And of course, the Denver Broncos host the Washington Commanders, a game that I think many would feel that they should be able to take care of business in. So I don't think this is a week where the Chiefs could gain any ground in the West, but crazier things have happened. The return of Joe Burrow, making his return this week, long-awaited return. Joe Flacco will be the backup on deck as the Cincinnati Bengals lock horns with their division rivals, the Baltimore Ravens. The first place Baltimore Ravens, who currently are tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers from the same record in the North. But the Bengals, in my opinion, definitely in a position to play spoiler here. Not playing inactive will be wide receiver T. Higgins, as he is currently in concussion protocol. Keys to victory for both teams. The running backs got to get going. I favor Derrick Henry over Chase Brown in this particular matchup. The Baltimore defense has played a little more admirably lately. The Bengals defense is still quite a mess. In order for the Bengals to win, I think you just flat out got to outscore these Ravens. It is most definitely a possibility. Ravens are actually favored by 7 in this game, which I think is a little disrespectful when you consider that Joe Burrow is playing. I think similarly to the first game of the day, this could be a potential another high-scoring game. I think both Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow are going to be phenomenal fantasy options this week. Not having Higgins is going to hurt, no question about it, but I do expect Jamar Chase to have a massive game. And I think Joe Burrow is going to have a very high quarterback rating, and I think you're going to see a very fluid, offensively driven game, and I think you're going to see both teams going back and forth. Give me the upset here. I like the road team, despite the fact that they're a 7-point dog. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals in a close one here, 34-31 for the dub over the Baltimore Ravens. I still think the Ravens are going to win the division because I think they match up really good with Pittsburgh this particular year. But I think the Bengals, this is like their last ditch at just trying to do anything. And they are not the most favorable opponent right now when you have a top 5 quarterback in Joe Burrow at the helm and a Ravens defense that, quite frankly, has underachieved and underperformed all season long. So I do expect the Cincinnati Bengals to show some moxie, show some determination, and pull off the road dub, get out of Baltimore with a victory, and kind of put some pressure on Pittsburgh now that they got to win and take advantage, as the Steelers will be playing on Sunday. The Steelers' offense has been rather abysmal lately. They've been going through their fair share of issues. We've got Friday night football. The Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Chicago Bears, the Cinderella Bears in a lot of aspects. The big question here, in my opinion, is when is Saquon Barkley going to finally get going? He had that one monster game against the New York Giants in their second matchup, the game where, unfortunately, the Giants lost Cam Scatterbo for the year. But with the exception of that particular game, it has been such a quiet contrast of a season for Barkley when you consider that he had possibly the greatest season of any running back last year en route to an Eagles Super Bowl victory. There's a lot of reasons why the Eagles offense isn't clicking. And this is the kind of game where the Eagles have to be careful because the Chicago Bears are getting it done in crucial moments on last drives of games. And Caleb Williams is not making the same mistakes he made a couple of years ago. If I'm talking about just specifically the quarterbacks, undeniably Caleb Williams has an advantage over Jalen Hurts right now. But I expect the Eagles to dig deep and get the W, especially when you consider the way that they got beat last week in Dallas, Arlington to be specific. But yeah, they should have won that game in Dallas. They blow a 21-point lead. I think they lock in this week. And, you know, they got to have a foul taste in their mouth after getting shut out in the second half of the Dallas game. I think we're looking at a highly competitive game here. I do think the points will be at a premium in this one. And in low-scoring games, those kind of grinded out games, I do tend to favor the Eagles, as the Eagles have done a very good job of winning those kind of games. It will be close, however. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles by a final score of 24-20. The Bears will more than show up. I'm calling for a 2-minute drive where the Eagles punch it in via the brotherly shove within the last 30 or so seconds of the game. And then perhaps on that final drive, in desperation, Caleb Williams throws a pick. But that is my prediction. So my winners for Thursday Thanksgiving football, I got the Detroit Lions winning. I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning. I got the Cincinnati Bengals winning. And on Black Friday, give me the world champion Philadelphia Eagles avoiding a 2-game losing streak as they will prevail against the Chicago Bears, much to the delight of the Detroit Lions, who, if my predictions go as planned, will now be in good position in that division. Very top heavy in each conference this year as the playoff push moves forward. You got a situation where the NFC North could potentially be pushing 3 teams into the playoffs. You've got a scenario where the AFC West could be sending 3 teams to the playoffs. Right now, if I had to predict it based on right now, my Super Bowl would be for sure the LA Rams representing the NFC. But the God's honest truth is the AFC right now is very hard to forecast. But personally, I like the New England Patriots better than anyone right now because I like Mike Vrabel. And I think that he has really brought an outstanding work ethic back to Foxborough. This team is overachieving. We might see Rams Patriots 3.0 as the Patriots have won the previous 2 Super Bowls, defeating former quarterbacks of the Rams, Jared Goff and Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner was their quarterback back when they were still in St. Louis, the greatest show on turf era. That actually spawned the beginning of the Patriots winning ways in the Tom Brady and Bill Belichick era. Of course, Spygate and other things spawned from that as well. But yeah, rest of our preview will be conducted on Friday, probably at the conclusion of the football game, as the game comes on relatively early, which I like. So probably looking for an early evening show on Friday. We will break down the rest of the remaining games in the National Football League. What else is on the brain? Anything else? Not too much specific. I'm just really looking to see who's gonna step up and kind of take the next step and separate themselves from the pack in each conference, because things are really congested. You have a Seattle Seahawks team, in my opinion, that is also capable of winning the NFC. They're currently a wild card. It's very interesting right now. Buffalo Bills substantially trailing the New England Patriots in the AFC East. Can the Buffalo Bills circle the wagons, catch the Patriots down the stretch? I personally don't think so. But it's an interesting caveat because, Buffalo is one of those wild card teams where a lot of teams are not going to necessarily be looking forward to playing them, but the Bills have got to tighten up. Their defense has given up some big plays over the last few weeks, games that they could have and should have won. They got losses to Miami in there, losses to Houston, losses to Atlanta, teams that they should be beating. I could forgive them for Houston because Houston's defense is that damn good and they're starting to make a surge. But losing to Miami and Atlanta, just really, really bad on the Bills' behalf. And, I think you can make an argument that just perhaps the Buffalo Bills might be the most overrated team currently in the NFL out of playoff hopefuls / Super Bowl hopefuls. But until next time, I am Richie. Enjoy your families if you have the opportunity to be around the table tomorrow. And, it's a big drinking holiday. So I implore you guys, if you're out and about, don't be afraid to call the Ubers or the Lyfts. We want all you guys coming back safe, sound, and in the same fashion that you arrived at. Until next time, I am Richie. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie X Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out the V-Mix, the Vicious Mix, with my guy, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx, on live365.com. Check out our friends at the Casual Convo Show, who are now conducting shows on Mondays as well. Give them a look. Our friends at the Sports Corner, Joe Gal, Johnny Nash. Check out the Bleed Blue podcast as well. I'm out for now. Enjoy your holiday. Be safe, everyone. And we will be back more than likely Friday with the remainder of our Week 13 NFL preview. Peace.
Bye.